Hello Leo, and welcome to my channel Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs, looking at your connection to the person that you are dealing with and needing to learn the most from right now. We're looking at all three sides of the connection. We've got your energy toward it, their energy toward it, and the energy in between it. The concept being that there are three sides to every story. So we're looking at your version of the truth, their version of the truth, and this higher level unbiased truth in the middle, really looking at what is the deeper purpose of this connection and what is the best way for you to move forward in order to align further with your higher self. As always, I've gone ahead and pulled the overall energy for the reading and clarified those messages, as well as the overall theme for the reading, which we'll jump into in just a second. But I do have a different tarot deck that we'll be using for each side of this connection, as well as an advice deck that I'll be using in the extended. Any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading with me is in the description box below. Last thing, please remember that these are general readings. They are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation and leave what does not. On that note, these energies can absolutely be swapped. So if you resonate more with the energy to my right than to my left, just know that's totally fine and totally normal. The whole reading can be reversed. So again, please just take what does resonate for you and leave what doesn't. All right, Leo, on your side of this connection, you have closure with the Six of Swords in reverse. So I do feel like this is a past connection, or one that like you're having a hard time just moving away from in general. I feel like you haven't gotten the closure that you feel you need, that you feel that you deserve, which is why I feel you've been so stuck on it. Closure is a tricky thing because it is something that is necessary to be able to move on from a connection. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to come from the person that you're looking for closure from. So I feel like we'll definitely dive deeper into like what's really going on here. I do feel like this connection affected you on a pretty deep level, which is why you're a little bit stuck. Not like stuck on it necessarily. I mean, you could be, but I don't really feel that. I just feel like you're stuck. Like you're just like, man, I wish this connection didn't affect me. Maybe even I wish it didn't happen, or I don't know, but we'll see when we dive into tarot. This person, they have detour with the Three of Wands in reverse. So this person's off their path. Like they're very much, like I just picture like a windy, dark road to nowhere. With the Three of Wands in reverse, it kind of feels like, you know, for them, I feel like this connection pushed them out of their comfort zone. And I feel like that made them go, oh, this is too much, and do whatever they needed to kind of like withdraw back into their comfort zone. But I do feel like this person's like, they're like off path, off course in some way, shape, or form. And especially in regard to this connection. Now, the truth of this connection is inevitable with the Knight of Cups in reverse. So this connection deeply triggered you. Now, the overall theme for their connection is shadow, so that makes sense to me. It feels like this connection kind of poked, you know, if you're not familiar with your shadow side, it's kind of that unhealed, unconscious part of yourself that you haven't yet gotten to the point of love and acceptance of. I feel like healing our shadow and learning to love and accept our shadow is a lifelong journey. So not saying you haven't done enough work or that you've done anything wrong, but I do feel like this connection brought certain aspects of your shadow, you know, feelings of being unlovable, of being not deserving of love, of not being good enough or attractive enough, or whatever the case might be. I do feel like this connection very much triggered or poked at those aspects of you, which is, again, why I feel like you are in a place of being so stuck, because I do feel like this had a deep impact on you. Now, with the inevitable card, I feel like what happened in this connection was unavoidable. Now, maybe you're like, oh no, it could have been avoided if I XYZ, or if they XYZ, but that's not what I mean. I mean like the lesson associated, or the energy that you attracted and this person attracted, you know, the way that this connection kind of came together, like that was inevitable. You know, sometimes we look back on our mistakes, or we look back on how things went down, and we're like, man, I wish I could have done things differently. But, you know, the way that we have to learn to look at it is you wouldn't know what you know now if you hadn't gone through what you did. I often hear people on this channel talk about how like the connections that they were dealing with were like a waste of time. And I feel like that's the last thing that they are, because you wouldn't, you know what you know now. You wouldn't learn the lesson you needed to learn in association with that connection if you hadn't have gone through it. But anyway, I got a little off track there. So let's start, Leo, with your side of this connection. You have closure with the Six of Swords in reverse. This is for Leo's side of this connection to the person they are dealing with. Leo's side of this connection to the person they are dealing with. This is for Leo's side of this connection. Somebody walked away from this. It could have been you, could have been them. I'm not quite sure, but I feel like ever since that happened, ooh, okay. This is what you've been trying to recover from, is this Eight of Cups. Whoever it was that, like, I feel like this Eight of Cups wasn't your choice necessarily. Like, if you were the one who walked away, you did it because you felt like you didn't have a choice. But obviously, if this person was the one who walked away, then you didn't have a choice in the matter. So I'm not quite sure who walked away from this. But I do know that it's affected your trust issues. This connection deeply affected your level of feeling safe to trust. Not just other people, but yourself too. In a way, like, should I have seen this coming? Or, you know, I don't know. But I do feel like there's more to this. I feel like there's more to it that you're not seeing at this time. But let's get more. Leo's side of this connection to the person they are dealing with. Leo's side of the connection to the person they are dealing with. One more. Leo's side of this connection. Oops. To the person they are dealing with. This is for Leo's side of this connection. Leo's side of this connection to the person they are dealing with. Yeah, I mean, there's a lack of justice here. I mean, yeah, you definitely got the short end of the stick in this connection, because there you are. And you're stuck on that. Now, okay. I also feel like this Justice in Reverse card can often, I have dog hair all over my face, can often be lack of accountability. Now, I talk often about how the way that we're really able to heal from the people in our life who have done us wrong, or from situations that have, you know, hurt us, is when we find the role that we played in our own suffering. And not that I'm sitting here saying, oh, what has happened in this connection is your fault or that you did anything wrong, but, you know, when we look at the world through the lens of, like, this person hurt me or they did this to me, which I'm not saying that you aren't a victim in this situation, but bigger picture thinking is like, what role did you play? For about 4 years ago now? Yeah, a little over 4 years ago, actually. I was in an emotionally abusive relationship for 7 months. And I promise this ties into this reading, so bear with me. And this relationship, it both ruined my life and changed my life in really good ways. So it had all kinds of effects on me. But in the beginning, I was very angry at this person for the way that they treated me. You know, they treated me pretty poorly. It was only a 7-month relationship, but they did treat me pretty poorly from start to finish. And throughout the relationship, I was actually aware of the fact that I was getting treated poorly, but I just kept trying to show up with love and empathy and understanding and, you know, be there for that person. And until at the end, they ended up walking away. I'm telling you this story because for a long time, I was, like, seriously affected by this connection. I mean, this person just moved on with their life, like, started dating other people, and I was just destroyed. And I was like, how the hell can someone just, like, move on with their life after hurting someone so bad? And it ended up deeply affecting my life for a while. And until I got to the point where I was able to see, okay, what role did I play in this? Which is basically, I got to the point where I was like, you know what? I allowed this to happen. I ignored red flags. Even when I knew I was getting treated poorly, I continued to show up. I continued to invest. I continued to open myself up to the treatment that I was receiving. Now, it's not my fault that it happened. I'm not sitting here saying I blame myself or anything. Like, well, I did for a little bit, but part of the process. But once I got to the other side of that, I was able to say, okay, you know, now that I can see what I did wrong, obviously I could easily see what they did wrong. I was able to forgive myself for the ways that I invested in that connection, which allowed me to put it behind me and genuinely move on from it without anger or, you know, anything bad in my heart for that person. honestly just getting to that place of indifference. And that was the most freeing time in my life, because that's when I started to realize, okay, wait, we teach people how to treat us. And when we can start taking accountability for the way that we allow other people to overstep our boundaries, or treat us poorly, or, disrespect us in certain manners, instead of trying to prove to that person that they're treating you poorly, taking what they've shown you and moving on with your life. And being able to do that has attracted, more positive relationships into my life than I've ever had the chance to discover. So that might actually kind of be more the closure you're looking for, is like looking at like, okay, what can if everything in my life is happening for me, not to me, what is this connection trying to teach me? Because I do feel like that can help you in trying to move past all the emotions associated. Man, okay. Leo's side of this connection to the person they are dealing with. Yeah, it's like you really thought you wanted this, and then it ended in this Ten of Swords. Like, for a while, this person was your wish fulfillment. I feel like that's probably why things are so complicated, is you're like, maybe there's this energy of like, I really thought I had it right this time, or I thought that they would be different, or I thought this would be different, but then it just kind of seems like it turned out to be just as painful as maybe past relationships, or, what it is that you're used to when it comes to love. And I feel like that's the part, because I said this, with the first message, is this has deeply affected your sense of trust, not just in other people, but in yourself. Like, trusting yourself when it comes to being able to trust other people, in a way. So I feel like this deeply affected you on a pretty profound level, but I also feel like there's purpose for it. I mean, if you know me, I often talk about the purpose behind our pain. So let's see what we can. Ooh, all right. Oh, okay. The Fool in reverse. The Hermit, the Seven of Wands in reverse. So this is pushing you to a new beginning. The pain that you're going through. It's funny. It's like purpose for your pain. The pain that you're going through is pushing you to a new phase of your life when it comes to your relationships, when it comes to love. It's almost like approaching them from a completely different standpoint, because this person, they crossed your boundaries a lot. And I feel like maybe even to the extent where you didn't realize it was happening until like looking back on it. There's always that aha moment when we look back on our connection, or when we kind of can step away from the feelings and the emotions and say like, oh wow, okay, like that's the way that this connection really affected me. And it feels like you're kind of in that phase right now of like, almost seeing things a little clearer than you could when you were in it. I don't know if this connection's in full separation. It feels like these energies could definitely still be like, I don't know if you're in communication, or definitely still connected on some level, but that's because I feel like there is a deeper lesson associated that until that lesson is learned, there wouldn't be disconnection from the energy. And so this has been very painful for you. And there's no doubt about that. I feel like you did have a lot of love, do even maybe have a lot of love and care for this person. And that's why I feel like you're so stuck. Is, oftentimes when we get treated poorly, we can look at it and be like, man, like I would never do that to them. I would never do that to someone that I love. So, then you start to peel back the layer. Did this person even love me? Are they even capable of love? Were they out to get me? Were they just going to take advantage of me from the start? You start to question their intentions, and you get down into that rabbit hole of trying to decipher what's really going on. That's the phase of this that I feel like you're currently in, which is a hard phase to be in. But I feel like as you move through this, you're learning a lot about yourself. And that's like the point of our relationships, is to teach us about ourselves. And then, through what it is that you're learning and what it is that you gain from this, because I do feel like there is a lot to gain from this experience, there's this new beginning in love on the other side of this connection that is almost like, it's like this connection is getting you closer to what it is that you desire. It might feel like it's getting, like you're getting further away from what it is that you desire. Like I kind of talked about, like feeling like it's a waste of time, or, I'd be with someone better if I didn't waste all my time on this person. I don't feel like that's ever a good way to look at things, because that means that you never would have learned what you're learning right now through this. Leo's side of this connection to the person they are dealing with. Leo's side of this connection to the person they are dealing with. This is for Leo's side of this connection, please. There's that inevitable. It's like, yeah, there's this, because, okay, the Tower in reverse to me is like an energy of like, this was inevitable, this was unavoidable. And then there's this Five of Cups. This connection is really cracking you open. Like, that's the best way I can describe it. It's almost like the way that it has unfolded, the way that it has affected you, it's almost like it is cracking, it's peeling back certain layers of you in a way. I do feel like you are disappointed. You're in this like grieving period of this connection. And it's less about grieving the person, though, yes, I'm sure you might be. It's also grieving what you thought the connection would be. Like, you had certain expectations, you had a certain outlook of the connection. To me, and I don't know necessarily if like this will resonate with everyone, and it's kind of an aggressive way to put it, but it feels like there's this part of you that's like, was it all a lie? You know, like, what do I believe? Did I think it was one way and it was, a completely other way? I don't feel like it's that black and white. And I feel like there's more to it than that. And there's this need to kind of, not allow yourself to spiral into that, because that spiral can be very damaging when you start to second guess, like, your own worth because of someone else's actions, which is an easy thing to do. I'm not saying you're doing anything wrong, but I do feel like you're in this very disappointed, very upset, very frustrated about how things have gone. And now I just feel like you're trying to make sense of it, which is why you're feeling stuck. You're needing some closure here, but let's get more. This is Leo's side of this connection to the person they are dealing with. Leo's side of this connection to the person they are dealing with. Leo's side of this connection to the person they are dealing with. Ooh. Okay, Tower, 10 of Wands, 9 of Wands in reverse. So ever since, we already kind of talked about this, ever since this Tower, ever since, whoever it was that walked away from this connection did that, you felt stuck, you felt a little bit confused, a little bit unsure how to move forward, trying to make sense of everything, right? We have this 10 of Wands. It's almost like you've been carrying around the burden of this connection. Like, the way that this impacted you is like it almost feels like through this connection, you have this like weight of the world on your shoulders. Like, there's this energy of carrying around the way that this connection has affected you, which is making it almost impossible for you to move forward in any way. Because I feel like it almost feels like maybe you feel like time has stopped. Like, you're unable to progress in some way, even if you want to. Yeah, this connection has really done a number on you, Leo. But the good news is that I feel like there's a positive side. I do feel like there's a bright side to this. I really do. I'm going to say it. I haven't seen like proof of it yet, but I feel like, especially with what this 10 of Wands and this 9 of Wands in reverse is saying, like, I actually feel like this person was holding you back a little bit. I do. We'll see though. We'll see what they're dealing with. I do feel that kind of vibe from this. Like, this person was weighing you down in some way, shape, or form. But let's get more. This is this person's side of the connection to Leo, clarifying detour, the 3 of Wands in reverse. This person's side of the connection to Leo, clarifying detour with the 3 of Wands in reverse. This person's side of the connection to Leo. All right. I don't like the way those came out. Okay, well, I feel like I should take them though. Sometimes it feels like they like fall out instead of come out, but yeah, I'm going to put them back. Whoa. I'm going to put them back. If they were supposed to come out again, they will. It doesn't feel right. All right, this person's energy toward Leo. Like I said, if they're supposed to come out, they will again. This person's energy toward Leo. It happens all the time. Okay. This person's struggling with this connection too. They kind of had unrealistic expectations of this, though. It's like, but I want to know what those are. What are these? Let me clarify this 10 of Cups in reverse. What are these unrealistic expectations here that this person had? It's like unrealistic expectations of you. Clarifying this 10 of Cups in reverse. They were really looking for you to, best way that I can say this is like alleviate their fear and be their like stability and security, which nobody can do for anyone sustainably. That's just not possible. I feel like they expected a lot out of you, like for you to constantly be there for them, constantly support them, constantly, be the one making the effort and the connection. But then I just don't feel like they ever really reciprocated that. It's like they had these unrealistic expectations of like, oh, well, Leo will take care of it. It's fine. Like, Leo will do it. Interesting. This person's energy toward Leo. This person's energy toward Leo. And I'm kind of thinking about that indecision that I had when those first messages came out, because that's not like me. I usually am pretty like, okay, this is what I need to do. This person, they feel very indecisive. Like they don't know what they want. Because I do feel like they see the potential in this connection, but I don't know. This person's energy toward Leo. There's something funky going on here. So let's see. This person's energy toward Leo. Yeah, they're very much not in alignment with their higher self. High Priestess in reverse. 6 of Cups. Second time I've seen the Queen of Cups, so you could definitely be dealing with a water sign of some sort. So Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, you don't have to be, but could be. Okay. I'm trying to figure out the best way to put this like gently or lightly, because I don't want to make this person out to be a bad person. Don't think that they are. But I do feel like when things go wrong in their connections, it's always everybody else's fault. Like, oh, they did this to me, or they, it was all Leo. It was all this person. It was all their fault. Like, not just necessarily a lack of accountability. I do feel like that's there, but it's almost like they have this distorted view of the past. I don't know. And whatever that view is, it fits what they need to see to feel good about themselves. Now, that sounds like a harsh message, right? But we all have a tendency to do that. This isn't a bad person. We've all done that in some way, shape, or form. But I do feel like specifically with this connection, it's like they have this like distorted view of what really went down in a way. Interesting. This person's energy toward Leo. This person's energy toward Leo, please. So yeah, someone walked away. I don't know who it is. You both had the Eight of Cups. I don't like this person's energy toward you. I don't like that this King of Swords in reverse and in general. This is very like, I mean, you could be dealing with an air sign too, but this is very like gaslighting, manipulation type energy. Like, and that's almost what I feel. It's like they have this distorted view of what actually went down. It's almost like they're gaslighting you into believing their story. That's intense. I don't feel like this is a bad person. I feel like they're in survival mode. They're doing what they can to protect themselves from having to face themselves. I do feel like this connection brought up both of your shadows. You know, when we're dealing with connections that poke at our shadows, we're usually dealing with people that reflect back at us the things in ourselves that we don't really love, don't really like, haven't really accepted, definitely haven't healed, because usually the purpose of those connections is to bring up what needs to be healed. And so in order for this person to protect having to face their shadow, they're not just they're gaslighting themselves. I do feel like they really believe this distorted idea they have in the past. Like I don't think that they're just like straight up lying. I just feel like they're not being honest with themselves or with you. It's almost like justifying their behavior. Justifying their behavior in a way. This person's energy toward Leo. Like that's what it is. It's like they've painted this picture that I don't feel like aligns with the truth, but it justifies the way that they acted. This person's energy toward Leo. Now, it takes two, right? That's a lot of cups, though. Ooh, okay. This person did, depending on when this connection happened and what your personal situation is, have a lot of love for this. I do feel like they did love you. I do maybe. I don't know. Yeah, because there you are, Queen of Wands. They do. They have love for you. Absolutely. But it also kind of feels like they have a kind of distorted idea of love too. And that goes into those unrealistic expectations. Like maybe they're looking for someone to complete them, or looking for someone to make them feel good about themselves, or looking for someone who, I don't know, can like read their mind so they don't ever have to communicate. It's interesting because I feel like in this person's mind, they did the best they could in this. I'm not saying they didn't, but I also feel like they're not being fully honest with themselves about their role in it. Now, I do kind of see that on both sides, right? Like, it takes two. It takes two to build a connection. It takes two people for a connection to fall apart. I mean, it might be like, oh, well, they cheated on me, or they did these horrible things to me. I'm not saying it was your fault. I'm saying both people play a role. Both people have a lesson. Accountability and blame are two very different things. But I do feel like, I don't know, I do feel this lack of this person just not being honest about how things unfolded. This person's energy toward Leo. This person's energy toward Leo, please. I'm getting the vibe more and more that it was this person that walked away. I don't know though. I don't know. That actually, maybe both. I don't know, because the Eight of Cups is on both sides. I don't know. this person definitely played a role in, but I just said that both people do, which makes sense, so you know both sides. Okay, I'm just going to keep pulling cards. This person's energy toward Leo, please. Okay, yeah, this is kind of what I was feeling. It's like they didn't reciprocate. They certainly didn't give what you gave in this. Emotionally, financially, whatever, you know, however it resonates with you. Most likely, if it's in one area, it's probably across the board. But it's almost like to them, that's the way it should go. You should just be the one carrying the weight of the connection, which is kind of what this 10 of Wands feels like. Why I feel like they were holding you back a little bit is because you were not just carrying your own burdens, your own past, your own baggage. You were expected in this connection to carry this person's too. And that is not fair to anyone, you know? Because with the Page of Pentacles in reverse, there is this like immature outlook a little bit, like those unrealistic, immature kind of expectations, and, you know, Ace of Swords in reverse, not really seeing things clearly. That's why I feel like they have this distorted view of the past. It's almost like they're blaming you, but they expected way more than anybody can provide. Nobody can carry somebody else's burden sustainably for the long term. Of course, we can be there to support other people through working through their stuff and, you know, things like that. But that is what a healthy relationship is. Both people working on their stuff and supporting the other person through it, a reciprocation of that support. That's not what this feels like. It feels like you were expected to carry the burden of this connection, and when inevitably you weren't able to do that, even though you gave it everything you had, inevitably you weren't able to do that because, well, that's not sustainable. No one can do that for somebody else for the long run. It's almost like this person then was like, wow, we weren't able to, I don't know exactly what the words would be, but like then they're turning around and blaming you for messing up or for not being able to sustain their stability. Like emotionally, mentally, materially, whatever the case is. Which again, isn't fair to anybody. I don't know. It's like they didn't reciprocate, but then there's this part of them that's like totally blissfully unaware of the fact that they played that role here. You know, I have empathy for this person. I've been this person. I've been both of these people. I've been the person that overgives, and I've been the person that takes with the expectation of not reciprocating. But I definitely feel like I get why you feel this lack of closure here, because I feel like there's this part of you that's like, man, I want this person to see what they did. And this person, like I said, is like in their own little illusion of the past of how things happened. And I get why that's frustrating, and I get why there's this part of you that's maybe you're like, oh, I want this person to apologize or at least like recognize and validate the way that they made me feel. But, you know, when we look for other people to validate our pain, what we're saying is, I am not safe to feel how I feel until somebody else tells me it's okay. You know how this person made you feel. And to be honest, if they came around tomorrow and were like, man, Leo, I really hurt you, you'd be like, yeah, you sure did. And this person's like, I'm sorry. And you're like, okay, you know, I'm still left to pick up the pieces that it's just what I'm getting at is like this person, you don't need this person's apology to heal. You don't need this person's accountability to heal, because the more that you think that that's the case, the more you're giving this person the power over your ability to be happy. I think way too many people, and I did this a lot in my past, I spent way too much of my time and energy trying to prove to people that they did me wrong. When in reality, I just needed to take my perception and be like, yeah, this is how I feel. This is how I felt time and time again. I tried to set boundaries. I tried to be honest about how I felt. I was never heard. I was never, you know, there was never this even kind of a hint of this person trying to understand what they did. And now I have to take what I know and move forward. I took me a long time to learn to do that. You know, I think that we try to prove that we deserve better to other people when we just need to know that we deserve better and move forward, which isn't an easy thing to do. But I feel like you're looking for this accountability from this person, but I don't think you're going to get it. At least not for a while, because they're not being honest with themselves, right? So they're not going to be honest with you. This person's energy toward Leo. So the only thing you can do, if you can't control this person, if you can't control what they do or how they respond, the only thing you can do is figure out where your power lies in this, right? What can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? How can I use this to create better relationships in the future? This person's energy toward Leo. You're all over their energy, though. That's so... Ooh, you were just as triggering for them. Could also be dealing with another fire sign, but that is like 3 out of the 4 signs. Pretty sure we just haven't seen Earth. You were just as triggering to this person. I feel like both people in this connection triggered each other's shadows, which is why I feel like you're both acting in the way that you best know how to protect yourself. That's what it comes down to, right? The way you're acting is probably frustrating for this person. The way this person's acting is probably frustrating for you. It's kind of the way these things go sometimes, which is why we cannot put our ability to heal, our ability to move forward, our ability to be happy and loved in the hands of somebody else, because that's where we give our power away. That's when we take away our power from ourselves, our ability to be loved and cared for in the way that we deserve, and we put it in the hands of one specific person. So, lots and lots going on here for this connection. All right. Truth of this connection between Leo and the person they are dealing with, you have inevitable with the Knight of Cups in reverse. I'm going to hop on over to the extended. The purpose of this middle section is, what is the deeper purpose of this connection, and what is the best way for you to move forward in order to align further with your higher self? I'm going to pull 9 different messages, and then I have an advice card to pull at the end. Thank you so much, Leo, as always, for your support of my channel. I do hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you were needing today. And as always, I wish you nothing but love and healing on your journey moving forward. All right, bye, Leo.